if I can't do it perfectly, I'm just not doing it. Knowing in advance that a lot of work will be needed to achieve a task and believing I might fail. So sort of like how 65% of dieters fail, and even how I failed 100% of the diets I'd done before, right? Because that's why I was looking at dieting again. We won't start. So I might dive into some research of easier ways to lose weight, trying to find that perfect diet. I might research meal plans so that I have, all the right things to eat that's going to guarantee my weight loss success. And of course, I'm going to research some exercise routines, again, trying to make sure that I take weight off in every possible way that I can, all towards the goal of making sure that if I start this diet, I succeed this time, because I'm trying to guarantee my success, right? My goal is to make sure I do this right. Now, here's the problem. Because I'm trying to guarantee my success, I might have a stated goal of I got to lose 20 pounds when in fact on my body, there's 80 pounds that I should be trying to lose. Or I might make a stated goal that says something like, as long as I lose the weight in the next 5 years, that's terrific, even though it might be more beneficial to my health, beneficial to my life, to lose the weight while I'm younger so that I can live my life and do things with my kid and have an easier time at work, and all the things that would happen if I actually started right away, took the diet seriously, and right? So this 5-year plan isn't a real plan. So we're going to come back to why these types of perfect setups with these pretend goals, half goals, still fail, because even though those two things should be really easy to achieve, they still fail. These issues are coming from the fact that people who struggle with perfectionism are actually trying to control being unhappy. Although this sounds reasonable, it isn't, because it isn't possible to control being unhappy. We don't control our feelings. Our feelings actually are our reaction to what's happening. And so our life is going a certain way, and our feelings are a reflection of the assessment of what it is that's happening around us, right? And when we don't like what's happening around us, but we feel like we can't really change it, then we try to control other things in our lives. But controlling these other things doesn't actually change the problem that was original. So it doesn't make work better if I control something at home. And these are things that if we don't understand that, we're going to make the mistake of wanting to control my weight loss, and wanting it to go as planned is going to set me up, because I know that I've tried and failed to lose weight more times than I'd even like to admit. And those failures keep me stuck in this planning stage of my diet, because I won't start again until I know that I will succeed. So perfectionists, they just don't try. They do, right? They get things done. If they do something, it's right. It's the only option that's available. And that means I'm either doing it to perfection or I'm not even going to start. So this is why perfectionism causes problems and is actually not a desirable thing for us to be trying to accomplish. So how do we put down this perfection idea when it's a defense against feeling bad, right? It's a defense against being upset. And the answer is by feeling bad. It's actually good to feel bad sometimes, because that's how we know that things need to change. So realizing that things need to change, and that doesn't mean that I know exactly how that change will look or what that change will be. That's kind of the magic of not being a perfectionist, is that I can see that I need to do something different. I can get out in the world and do something different and then wait to see what comes from it, right? How does life change because I changed something? Now, in order to do a diet, though, you need to have good information, right? You need to know, for example, if you're doing a keto diet, what's the healthy way to do it? What foods should I be eating? Like there is some data that you need. But you can actually lose weight and you can get healthy on keto without doing it perfectly. Now, of course, I know that you can do that because that's exactly what happened to me, right? Those first 2 months that I started doing a keto diet, I was nowhere close to being perfect at what I was doing. With 80 pounds to lose, I messed up that first 2 months, like ridiculously, and still I was at goal weight 5 months later. So with all those mess ups, right? So what's really important is having a goal and making incremental improvements towards the goal until you are mostly doing what's necessary to achieve it, right? So you want to start, you want to take good actions, as good as you can, but when you make a mistake, you fix it until you're doing what you're supposed to do consistently and as to the best of your ability, right? It's not about perfection is my point. And I'm not advocating sabotaging yourself by saying that you're going to eat keto, but then eating the standard diet, right? What I'm advocating is being kind to yourself, allowing yourself to learn as you go, right? Because if you let yourself learn as you go, then you're going to have more opportunities to take action. And then when you take those actions, you're going to see the result of what you've done. And the other thing is, if I'm kind to myself, and being kind to yourself also means accepting where you are. It's hard sometimes, but if I want to make change in my life and I don't accept where I'm starting from, I'm not able to make change, right? Because I'm constantly denying what's true. Have you ever wondered how some women, men as well, but I think as women, like as a woman, like it's harder for me. It was hard for me to see this at the beginning, but I would see women who clearly were overweight and seemed so comfortable in bathing suits, right? Even bikinis sometimes. And while we would have, I would see other women like myself. I was one of them. I wasn't comfortable, right? And so I would either like avoid scenarios where I had to put on a bathing suit, or I would always wear a one piece, and even today at my goal weight, there's a little bit of me that I have a 2-piece now, but took a little bit for me to buy it. We don't feel comfortable because we're not accepting ourselves and because we're not being kind in our mind. It has everything to do with what you're saying in your head, Wellness Warrior. And I think that I know that I wasn't talking well to myself in my head. And it took a little bit for me to start talking to myself better. But then once you start to talk to yourself better and you accept what weight you are at, then you're able to be comfortable, and then you're able to take action towards what you want to do, right? And if I'm comfortable and I'm dressing in a way that makes sense for whatever I'm doing. So if I'm at the pool, I'm dressed to be at the pool, right? That means wearing a bathing suit. If I'm doing that, if I'm allowing myself to make sense in what I'm doing, I would also allow myself to make sense in what I'm eating, right? Like these ideas work if I don't accept my weight, even if my weight is technically within the appropriate range, I'm still going to hide my body. And this is because no matter what we do and what we talk to ourselves about, it's impossible for me to not be honest with myself, right? Like what matters to me is what I believe about me. Because this is why these fake goals don't work, right? We can't lie to ourselves. Like, I always know the truth. So even though I was at goal and I was like, oh, like, yeah, this is the normal weight. If I didn't change in my mind this idea that says that I don't look right, then I would still be walking through the world dressing as if I was weighing more because I wasn't comfortable with me. And if I weigh more, but I'm comfortable with me, I can still wear the appropriate clothing for the appropriate situation, right? So it's the conversation I have with myself. If I have 80 pounds to lose, but I'm telling myself I'm only trying to lose 20, whatever, I'm still going to fail at the diet because I'm not being honest with myself. If I have 80 pounds to lose, but I'm saying, as long as I lose it before I die, or, in the next 5 years, or whatever the silly story I'm telling myself is about how quickly this needs to happen, I'm not being honest with myself, and I'm therefore not investing in eating properly the way that I should be investing in eating properly. And those unrealistic goals, those unrealistic time frames, the meal plans, or any other ways that we try to trick ourselves into starting our diet won't work, because in my head, I know I'm not being honest. Right? I know that there's a lot more that I need to do. And so that perfection thing is going to kick in again. Why are you starting something that's going to fail? Because you're going to lose 20 pounds. You're still going to be overweight. Right? What are you doing? And so I don't start. So you're either going to not start, or you're going to continually put it off until you find that one hack that guarantees your weight loss, right? Or your diet's going to work. And if I keep putting it off, I never get to start Williams Royal. It's like, it's such a frustrating thing to watch people do this to themselves, because you're just living longer in an unhealthy state that's causing problems for you. So, right? Like, what do I know right now? Right? What is my current truth? Well, when I was trying to start my diet, my current truth was that I was overweight and that my weight won't change without action, right? So the foods that I was eating needed to change. They needed to look different. That this was going to be really, really hard, and that I didn't really want to do it. I didn't want to do it. That was the truth. I had zero desire to change this because I was afraid I was going to fail. I was afraid it was going to be hard. Right. So how can I answer each of these ideas in a way that I want the new behavior of eating properly, right? What's the new thing that I'm saying to myself? So my new truth was cooking and eating a healthy meal takes about the same amount of energy that cooking and eating a crappy meal takes, right? I'm not going to be in the kitchen longer to cook a better meal. As a matter of fact, what I didn't know was that I would actually be in the kitchen for much less time because, well, multiple reasons. First of all, cooking the healthy meal, I figured out ways to cook a healthy meal in less than 20 minutes, first of all. But the other positive is that I was cooking less in general. I started off cooking my unhealthy, normal lifestyle meals twice a day. And sometimes, and buying breakfast, sometimes buying snacks during the day. I went from doing that to cooking healthy meals 3 times a day, which was more cooking, but they were faster meals, to cooking twice a day, faster meals, to now cooking 1 meal for myself a day. So yes, I actually ended up being lucky enough to cook less, right? To be less in the kitchen. Now, the other thing that I would like to know is, and figure out, is how eating healthy meals actually reduces the amount of fat storage that I will have in the coming year. So like if I took on this challenge of eating properly, doing this diet, I would actually store less fat in the coming year just by the fact of eating less sugar every single day. I'd like to see how eating healthy for a year impacts my weight. That was one of the things that I was wondering about. Well, sorry, when I started this diet, I mean, sure, I did it for pain. Don't get me wrong. But as I was going forward and I saw the weight coming off, that became a curiosity question. I'm actually storing less. I'm actually losing weight. What impact might this have on my weight in the coming year? And the other thing, believe it or not, that I said to myself to get me to look at this dieting idea and actually walk forward and just do it was, I can do hard things. I've done hard things before, right? Having my daughter, that was a hard thing that I did. It took 9 months, and then, the actual labor, right? I have a business that I decided to do. I can do hard things. Why is this different? So, because you made it to this part of the video, though, I want to actually give you one more secret hack that will help you follow through on your diet. This one, I realized after doing this diet for a very long period of time, and it's liking the food you eat, making your meals delicious, and then eating enough that you aren't hungry is the best way to stick to any diet. If I like the food, I will eat the diet. That's why we stick to the standard diet, right? The standard make you fat diet. We stick to that because we like the food. If you find recipes for the vegetables that you're planning to eat that taste delicious to you, you will stick to your diet. So what we're doing is we're creating our new truth, right? You need to remember that you can't lie to you. It doesn't work. You need to start the diet to see the results you're going to get. If you never start, you will not know if this keto diet is the diet that's going to help you change your life. You don't start, you don't know, right? And then when you start, if you make any mistakes, adjust as necessary. You don't need to do this perfectly. Most people don't do it perfectly. It's tricky to go from eating 300 plus grams of carbs down to eating 20. It takes a little work. It takes a little practice. You need to figure it out, right? But if you do it, right, you're going to have some kind of result, and then you can adjust and make it better. If you choose to do a keto diet, you're going to need to manage your cravings, by the way. So I have a playlist linked in the description that you can check out after this stream to figure that out. I look forward to talking to you guys next week. In the next live, check out the video that's coming Wednesday. Talk soon.